Thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member. The 2025 White Sage and Dragon Brow fires really affected over 205,000 acres of public land in Arizona, the majority of which is on the North Kaibab Ranger District. What is the Forest Service timeline for completing the post-fire forestation in the Kaibab National Forest? And what resources, personnel, funding, contracted crews are currently dedicated to that effort? And how, if at all, will these efforts be affected by the Forest Service reorganization? The reason we ask is because really northern Arizona economy is entirely based on the survival and the viability of the forest, especially when it comes to tourism.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Gallego, I don't have specifics on that. We'll have to get back to you on the specifics, but in general, our post-fire recovery plans tend to happen within a 3 to 5 year timeframe that we'll go out and look at that and evaluate the ground in terms of what needs to be done and see what funding is available. So we do have funding that we use for post-fire recovery, but that's used across the country. So that's definitely an area we're taking a hard look at, but we'll have to get back to you on specifics.
Just at 3 to 5 years is very difficult for that area. I mean, it's tough enough. The tourism economy is already hurting just because of costs, everything else like that. And if we don't have a healthy forest, a forest that people want to visit, we're going to see a lot of the mom and pop operations shut down because they just don't have the economic bandwidth to actually survive for 3 to 5 years. So I really encourage you to try to, if possible, move up the timetable. I'll move on to other questions. The wildlife recovery, the pressing needs, and that's why I'm also introducing the North Rim Kaibab National Forest Restoration Act last year. I want to keep pushing forward. I want to make sure you look at that bill because I think it'd be very helpful in terms of moving things forward in a faster manner. Moving to another question, the roadless rule that protects over 45 million acres of forest system lands across 37 states, including Arizona, is extremely important, again, for healthy forests and economic tourism. Unfortunately, this administration is moving at breakneck speed to kind of roll it back. So I want to spend a couple minutes getting the facts straight around the roadless rule and wildfire and how they work together. So roadless rules are areas undergo wildfire prevention and hazardous fuels reduction. In fact, nearly 2 million acres of roadless land have received fuels treatment in the recent years. Fires are also most likely to be started in roaded areas due to human activity. So not just smoking or starting fires, but also like chains from towing, things of that nature. That usually happens a lot in Arizona. And so roadless protections can help reduce all this type of ignition risk, especially this year, because if you've seen with El Nino, we've had a very, very dry winter. And so fire seasons are getting longer and hotter, and resources are being spread thinner, and Forest Service staff is facing upheaval and movement from reorganization. So I really strongly question the wisdom of trying to roll back another layer of fire protection right now, as I said, especially with how brittle and how dry the West is right now. How did the Forest Service take fire risk into account when rolling back the roadless rule? Like, how did you account for how this is going to be changing?
So, Mr. Chairman, Senator Gallego, we haven't rolled anything back yet. So we've initiated a process, rulemaking process. There is a draft EIS that we expect to come out probably sometime this summer, and we're still evaluating alternatives. So there's been no decision made on roadless as of yet. In terms of the issue, though, what the intent behind this is to look at increasing access. So whether it's for public access, whether it's for access for management, it's also access for firefighting. We have a lot of roads that are in roadless areas. So when those maps were drawn initially back in the 70s, when we looked at what areas, in IRA areas, there are roads in roadless. So we're looking at areas to protect communities first and foremost, and also getting areas that increase access, whether it's for active management. But the idea that we're going to go put a bunch of roads up in high elevation areas, it's not going to happen. We're looking at things that make pragmatic sense to provide flexibility to protect communities and increase access for the public.
It's not an issue of like where it is in terms of high elevation, low elevation, or anything else like that. The question that I have specifically is when you guys are going through this EIS process and your study, are you accounting for the fact that you may actually increase the risk of forest fires by actually creating more access points for ignition to happen? Because I think from my experience in Arizona, what we've seen is that most of the forest fires are being started, the massive ones, are being started near existing roads, whether they're federal, state, local, tribal, whatever it is. It's like almost a big majority of them are coming from the fact that they're close to population centers versus some of our denser forest areas tend not to have that. And if they are, they're largely started by lightning of that sort.
So, Mr. Chairman, Senator Gallego, over time, what we've seen is we've seen more human-caused fire starts than natural cause. So you mentioned lightning. It used to be about 50-50, now it's increased above 50-50. So where the people are is we tend to see more fires.
Right.
Because they're
And they tend to follow roads. That's
in many cases, they do.
Thank you. I yield back.